We back.
This
Episode
is
number
hopefully the last cold open.
shit.
You'll have to listen to.
Yeah.
We're so sorry. We're so sorry.
Yeah, I know. Oh my god. I was thinking about it over the weekend and I'm like, I'm running out of creative ways to open these episodes.
After you brought it up last time, I was like, okay, we really have to do this because it's getting really unbearable. Even listening to it and working out and stuff, I'm like, oh god, this is so awful.
Yeah, each one begins with me being like, hi. And then you're like,
Yeah.
yo.
Yo.
Yeah.
Yo.
Yeah.
We back.
We back.
Like literally one of those three. There's no in between. It's literally one of the three.
Yeah. And then we always say episode number this because we're like, I have no idea
Yeah.
how else to talk about this.
Yeah. So just a disclaimer, this one is going to be a bit short. Again, nothing wrong with that because we will be back on Thursday. We both have very busy schedules right now, which is fine.
Yeah.
We still have some very scintillating discussion there for you planned for today, hopefully.
And also, if anyone's complaining, the last 2 or 3 episodes have each been like an hour and 15 minutes.
And they were both of those. We were planning like, okay, I'll make it short, make it like half an hour, 45 minutes. Bro, we like doubled it.
Yeah, because we just shat on the Oilers both times.
Yeah,
we could go on and on.
So just a couple things, housekeeping things in terms of the pod. So if you haven't already, or have you haven't noticed, we've started uploading some of the videos to our YouTube page. Hopefully, again, I am gonna try to have all those up or all the ones that we have ready for upload sometime tonight or tomorrow. So again, if you haven't checked that out, definitely check that out. Again, something that's in the works. We now have a TikTok page. There's no content on there yet, but there will be shortly. Hopefully, once we get some highlights going, we'll put them on the TikTok page. So
that's sick.
If you look it up, I believe it's Taxi Squad Pod. Hold on one second while I check. Hold on.
Taxi Squad.
Why don't you give us some filler while we wait? Go ahead.
I just want to say I really love the name Taxi Squad Pod. It just rolls off the tongue so nicely.
So it's called the Taxi Squad Pod on TikTok. So again, we have no content yet, but if you listen to the pod regularly, I highly suggest following it, because there will be some highlights on there shortly. With some
am I following it or not?
I don't think so. I don't think anyone is. I literally made it like when I was bored, like 2 days ago. I was like, okay, here it is. Okay, everyone, here. Anyways, yeah. So that's that. And everything else in terms of distribution, everything straightforward. Again, if you haven't subscribed yet to any of our services, what are you doing? Go ahead and do that right now. Smash that like button, smash that subscribe button.
Quick thing.
Yes.
So I just hit follow right now, and I know which emblem is ours, the one with the taxi on it, but there's actually 2
yes, sir.
Taxi Squad Pod accounts.
Oh no. Hold on.
Ours is the Taxi Squad Pod, but there is a competitor called Taxi Squad Pod.
Ours is the Taxi Squad Pod. It is the one, not a. It is the Taxi Squad Pod.
This is our competitor for anyone watching on YouTube.
Yeah, and this is ours. This is our actual account. So follow this one with the beautiful photoshopped logo, which someone, I don't know who did it, but someone spent countless hours on it. Work. I'm just joking, but feel free to check that out. But again, I hopefully in the next couple of days, I'm hoping by the end of the week today, we'll have all of our socials and everything up to date. YouTube is the big one, because again, these videos files are. Anyways, we're getting off track, but yes, the socials should be all up to date shortly.
Okay, we're gonna talk a little bit about the Olympics today, but before we jump in, I am going to quickly highlight 2 things that I noticed from around the league. Number one, I just want to talk about just a couple minutes on the Leafs. The Leafs have gone in the last, I think, 11 games, 8-2-1. However, those 11 games have been so dramatic. And now I'm finally back into the speed of Leafs action and hockey action again. So now I'm like watching a little bit more than I have over the last couple months. And just the last 2 games alone, I remember watching the Detroit game when I was at my buddy's house on the weekend, and they were down 4-2 in the third period, and they scored 5 in the third period to win 7-4.
Yeah.
And then almost the exact same thing against New Jersey yesterday. They scored 4 goals in the third period, won 6-4. Like, holy shit, this team, this is alarming, because this is now 11 games. I think how many of their last a few games have they had a lead and choked it, or have they had to come back, multi-goal comeback? So none of these wins that they're having right now are like by the book. No
Mm-hmm.
textbook wins at all. This is all like dramatic fashion, last period, last minute goals, stuff like that. So
Right.
definitely not a trend I like to watch. It's concerning.
Mm-hmm.
However, there's
Yeah.
always a stretch like this that every team will face during the season. And what Leafs teams
Yeah.
have done in the past few seasons, like I'm gonna talk about the Mike Babcock seasons because that was the last full 82 game season we watched as a Leafs fan when Mike Babcock
Yep.
was the head coach. This time of the year was when they would either win very, very boring, meaningless hockey games or lose them. And they would lose a ton during
Mm-hmm.
January, February, March. Now it seems like they're winning. Or at least they're
Yeah.
winning, right? So while other
Mm-hmm.
teams may be struggling at some parts of the year, I don't think the Leafs have ever really struggled during the season so far. They've had a couple small skids here and there, but even looking at the last month, they haven't played good hockey at all, to be honest with you. But they've still managed to what, win 8 of 11. That's like an 888 win percentage over the month.
Mm.
That's insane.
Yeah.
And what's even more concerning, though,
Uh,
sorry, did you have
mhm.
something to say there?
Sorry, I want to hear what you say because I think you might be hitting the point that I want to make. Go ahead.
I don't think I am because I was just going to say the Leafs may be playing good over this entire season pretty well. Um,
Yes.
and actually, they're on track to have the best season in franchise history. I remember reading that somewhere.
Really, I didn't know that. Interesting.
They
Oh, wow. Okay.
right now would still be, if the playoffs started today, they're third in the Atlantic. They would start
Mm-hmm.
on the road against the Tampa Bay Lightning. What sorcery is
Yeah.
this?
Yeah. This is a problem I've had for a while. I don't like the playoff format at all. I get why they did it. Because they said they wanted to generate rivalries, fine, but you're basically doing that at the cost of basically having some of the best teams eliminated in the first round. I don't really think it's fair to teams that are doing because it basically you're not rewarding teams who have good regular seasons. Like that was the whole thing where I've always been in the mindset you just do 1 through 8 best teams and you do one
Mhm.
versus 8, 2 versus 7.
I
I think
agree.
that just makes the most sense. But again, this is the NHL. This is something this is something that has been brought up multiple times. It's something they're very stubborn about. But yeah, like they're basically being punished for being in the same division as Florida and Tampa Bay, and it's not right. But sorry, I guess saying it's not right isn't really. It's not up to me to decide what's right. I just don't think it makes much sense. That's more so what I meant.
It's just unfair, man.
And just to again, I know we're just to talk about the Leafs a little bit. I don't want to make this all about the Leafs. One thing I think we should all be keeping an eye on is Mr. Soupy Jack Campbell. I have started to get alarmed. Um, Now again, I'll be the first to say when Jack Campbell was like just carrying the Leafs for like a good chunk of the season, um, I think a lot of people realize what's going on. This guy's like this is a revelation. He's playing so well. In the last, so I'm just gonna quickly read you his last couple of games that he's played for the Leafs. Because again, so last night he got pulled, 3 goals on 9 shots against 667 save percentage. Against the Anaheim Ducks, he allowed 3 goals on 20 shots. That's 850. Against the New York Rangers, 5 goals on 26. That's 808. Against the St. Louis Blues, 5 goals on 25. That's 800. And then against the Knights, he had a good game, 3 goals. Sorry, relatively good game, 3 goals on 34. That's 912. And then Colorado, 5 goals on 40, 5 goals against on 49 shots. Holy cow, an 898. So I mean, like he's coming back down to earth, which I think is something we all expected, especially with how much he's been playing. But if I'm a Leafs fan, I am sorry, as a Leafs fan, because I am a Leafs fan, I am a bit concerned. But again, and this is kind of how I feel about the last couple of games. Like you were saying, it is a bit concerning how they have started really poorly and how they keep kind of either blowing leads or getting themselves into a hole. This is also a season where I said the regular season doesn't really matter. So I've just
Mhm.
been kind of trying to enjoy the wins as they come because, like, at the end of the day, if there's one thing that we've seen in the past is that these games don't really mean anything other than just for placement in the standings. And like you said,
Yep.
it doesn't really matter because it looks like they're only going to play like one of like 3 teams in like Tampa, Florida, and maybe Boston. But even then, like I think they're a lock to play either Tampa or Florida.
The one thing that's different about this Leafs team is that you can feel that they're better than previous iterations, or at least over the last decade.
Oh no,
They're
for
a
sure.
lot better than last year's
100%.
team as well.
100%.
I
Yep.
remember when I was watching the game on Saturday, they were down 2-4. They scored the third goal, and I put
Mhm.
$10. I put $10 on them to win the game, and they won the game, and I made $40 in return. I was just like,
Yo,
I feel that they're gonna win this game, and they did.
hold on. One more quick thing about sports betting because I actually have a parlay down tonight. I want to read it for everyone because if this hits,
Wait.
I will be
Quick, one last thing I wanted to say about
yes,
Soupy before you go to the parlay.
yeah, yes,
I agree he is coming down to earth, but that's also because he's played a shit ton of games. He's already matched his career
100%,
high, 31
100%.
games,
Yep.
and he's just halfway through the season. So they signed
Mhm.
Mrazek for a reason. Get him the hell into as many games as you can over the next month.
Yep.
Don't
Yeah,
let Soupy hit like
and
65
mhm.
games. I don't want that.
I don't disagree with that in the slightest. I think that's a very good point. Um, I guess part of me is just like, what if it's not because of that? And what? Anyways, it's
Yeah,
this is a hypothetical conversation. This isn't really something that we need to say, but it's something that I think a lot of fans are concerned about. But even then, everyone loves Jack. I think everyone knows he's gonna figure it out and kind of get back into it. If anything, if you're a Leafs fan, it actually might be a good thing because it might actually lower his cost of his contract when it comes back down.
maybe.
Anyways, that's maybe who knows. So I have a massive parlay that I set for tonight.
Mhm.
I basically I have a 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10 leg parlay. Yeah. I said screw it. Like here, hold on. So I have a story. So what was it? I was watching the St. Louis Rams game. Um like the Rams and the Niners on Sunday. It was a NFC Championship game. Winner goes to Super Bowl, whatever. The Rams were down like 10 points or something like that. They like it was just after the I think it was just after the Debo Samuel touchdown. They were down big, and I was like, you know what? I'm gonna put 50 cents on the Rams to come back and win this game. It was like 50 cents. It's like 50 cents to win like $1.30.
Okay.
They won. So
Nice.
I made like $1 basically. It was like $1.50 whatever. So I took that dollar I made and I put it on this massive parlay. So hold on. So I'm gonna quickly read it to you real quick. So Predators at Canucks, I'm taking the Preds. The Avs at the Coyotes, I'm taking the Avs. The Lightning at the Sharks, I'm taking the Lightning. The Bruins at the Kraken, I'm taking the Bruins. The Panthers at the Rangers, I'm taking the Panthers. The Leafs at the Devils, I'm taking the Leafs. The Jets at the Flyers, I'm taking the Jets. The Panthers at the Capitals, I'm taking the Penguins. The Islanders at the Sens, I'm taking the Islanders. And the Flames at the Stars, I'm taking the Flames. I feel really good about a lot of those picks. So I
So
put a
what if
dollar
you win?
down. It's it's staked one to win 55.
Okay, there's
So I
no
figure I
way
have nothing.
you're gonna get
Hold on,
10 for 10.
hold on. You never know. Anyways, I just said screw it. I think that'd be kind of
Fine.
funny if it actually hits. I figured I had
It's a
nothing to
dollar.
lose. I basically lose 50 cents because I
Yeah.
basically made the other dollar. Anyways, I thought it was kind of fun. Anyways, so we'll see how that goes. But
I'm gonna make a bold prediction. You're gonna get 9 for 10, and the one loss is gonna come from.
the Leafs.
Yeah.
That's like I had one last night and they who was it? The no, actually no, both the Sens and the Red Wings won, so that was too bad, but it's okay. Anyways.
Okay.
Yeah. Anyways, so we're a little off track, but anyways, go ahead.
That's okay. Let's rotate over to the Olympics. So we briefly highlighted this last week. They're gonna start this Thursday. Today's the first, right? So
Oh
no, Friday.
wow.
They're
Yeah,
gonna start on Friday.
Friday.
And all the rosters have been revealed. I have
Mm-hmm.
all the rosters bookmarked on my Twitter page, so I can quickly run through
Yeah.
them. But I wanted to quickly discuss with you, Mr. Simon,
Mm-hmm.
your thoughts on some of the players, and then we can end this episode off on some of the predictions that we think
Yeah.
how the women's and the men's tourneys are going to go in the upcoming Olympics. I'm going to start with the Canadian men's roster first.
Mm-hmm. I actually have it open right now. But if you have it, go ahead.
Okay, yeah, then I'll start off. First,
Okay.
biggest name I think we have over here is Eric Stahl,
Mm-hmm.
37 years
Captain
old,
Eric Stahl.
Captain Eric Stahl, oldest member of the team. And this is
Mm-hmm.
this article is from Olympic.ca. The youngest is 19-year-old Mason McTavish. along with Owen Power, who's
Right.
also 19.
Mhm.
Both Mason McTavish and Owen Power were part of the World Juniors that were happening in December.
Right.
Obviously, we all know what happened to them. They were canceled. And then we've got
Sorry,
goaltenders.
the World Juniors were canceled, not the players. Just to
Yes,
be clear, the
yes.
players were not canceled. The World Juniors were.
They were canceled.
Yeah. Oh
Okay,
my god.
so I guess those three are the most the names that stand out the most. You've got
Yeah.
goaltenders: Devin Levi, Edward Pasquale, Matt Tompkins. I have no idea who any of those are.
Yeah.
I've heard of Edward Pasquale actually. Any thoughts on
I'm pretty
goalies?
sure. So I think Devin Levi is actually a pretty highly touted goalie prospect.
You're
I can't
right. You're
remember. I
right.
think I think he was I believe he is he's a very good. I think he's a. I'm pretty sure he was another player who's on the World Juniors roster. I'm actually really excited to watch Devin Levi because I think he's someone who could potentially be a future NHL starting goalie. I think I'm really excited about Devin Levi. But in terms of the goalies, like Edward Pasquale, I don't, again, like you said, I don't really know these guys all that well. But I in terms of the ones that are on the roster, I Devin Levi is the blue chip goalie. I think that
Mhm.
I'm excited about going into the tournament.
Do you know which team is he drafted already? No, he
Let me
can't be.
quickly
No,
check. Hold
that won't make
on.
any sense.
I don't. Uh,
I'll
he's
look
a
him up here.
prospect for the Buffalo Sabres.
Oh, you're right.
Yes.
Interesting.
He was a seven. Yes, he was 12th, seventh round pick seventh round pick, 212th overall by the Florida Panthers, and then his rights were traded. That's what it was. Okay, yes.
Jesus.
Anyways,
The Florida Panthers
yeah,
have drafted some insane goalies.
they have, they have, they have.
Okay, I'm gonna quickly
Um,
run through some of the biggest names on defense and forward. I'm not gonna run through the entire list. Mark Barberio,
mhm,
familiar name.
yeah, yeah.
Jason Demers. This is
That's
all
yeah.
all defense so far. Owen Power, talked about him. I think Matt
Mhm.
Robinson. I forgot which team he played on, or I could be wrong.
Uh, he has a brother, buddy, but I think Matt was also in the NHL last year too.
Yeah, Matt Robinson played. Let's see quickly. You can fill her if I'm missing anything. Never mind. He never played in the NHL.
Uh,
I'm incorrect.
yeah, yeah.
But
No, that's yeah. I was wrong as well, so it's okay.
yeah, Jason Demers, Mark Barberia. Cool.
And Owen Power.
And
Yeah.
Owen Power. Forwards, you've got Adam Cracknell. He's back. David Desharnais,
Yeah.
familiar name.
Yep.
Landon Ferraro, son of Ray Ferraro, famous
Yep.
TSN analyst, and before that, famous player. You got Leafs
hmm
legend Josh Hosang,
Well, Marley's legend, but yes. Yeah.
upcoming Leafs
Yeah.
legend. One day he'll be.
Yep. Hopefully, I swear to God, if he's not, oh my God.
Mason McTavish, talked about him. Eric Stahl, and then you also got former Leafs legend Daniel Winnick.
Yeah. Also, some other former NHL players: Corbin Knight, Daniel Carr. Uh, again, not any huge names, but recognizable names in terms of forwards. Again, I think we all know kind of. I think all the big names are kind of out there. Like I think the main skaters, I think people are looking forward to watching are Owen Power, obviously, who I think people are really excited about. 6'5", 214. Uh, like the guy's an absolute horse. Like he's
Mhm.
just a monster. Mason McTavish had a really good preseason first couple games with the Ducks. I'm excited to watch him. Josh Hosang has been lighting it up with the Marlies. I'm really excited to see him on the national stage. And then like even Eric Stahl is someone who I actually grew up enjoying watching. So again, hopefully, like he's someone who can have a good tournament. But in terms of like the overall roster, that's really the main ones I got my eyes on.
Yep. Okay, I'm gonna migrate to the US team. I'm not gonna spend as much time on the remaining teams because Canada's the best.
Yeah, yeah,
Um, you got Kenny Agostino, familiar name. I think he was with the Leafs on PTO, remember?
yeah, yep. He was. Yep.
Yeah. I think a couple seasons ago or last season. I don't remember. COVID messed my brain up.
hmm Yep.
Nick Abruzzese, I think that's how you pronounce his name. He is a Leafs
Yep.
prospect currently.
He is.
Who else? You got Nick Shore, also played with the Leafs. Funny.
hmm
You also got Matthew Nyes, who's currently on the Leafs as well as a
He
prospect.
made the roster. Oh damn. True. Okay.
And
Wow.
defense, I think big names you got over here: David Warsofsky. You also got Jake
Former.
Sanderson.
He bounced around. Yep.
Jake Sanderson, who is currently a prospect for Detroit or Ottawa or Ducks. I don't remember.
Let's see.
One of those three, I'm pretty sure.
Ottawa Senators. Good job.
Yeah. And I don't know anyone else on the American team.
Stephen Kampfer.
You're right.
Was a Boston Bruins, Minnesota Wild defenseman for a while. He's pretty good. But yeah, wow. Okay, wow, yeah.
There's some good prospects.
Interesting.
The American team.
Yeah, yeah. And then I don't even know any of the goalies. Drew Comesso, Straussman, Pat Neg. I don't. Yeah, okay. So, apologies if those are actually good prospects. We just aren't really up to date with our American goaltending prospects, I guess.
Yeah, and that's okay. I don't.
Yeah,
I don't really
yeah.
want to.
Yeah, neither do I. Neither do I.
Finnish team, men's Finnish team. There are some familiar names in here. First of all, Leo Komarov, Uncle
Timo
Leo.
Solani. Yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was out of the NHL. Actually. Oh my goodness, poor Leo.
How old is Uncle Leo? Leo Komarov. We searched up quickly. I think I want to say 35. 35. Yeah.
Wow.
So he really is an uncle now. You got. Oh, wait, what? Valtteri Filppula? No way.
Yeah. Yeah, Val Filppula. Yeah, he's out of the league, dude.
What? I know he was out of the league, but that's such a throwback name. Holy shit.
Yeah.
I used to, when I played NHL back in the day, I always had him on my team in the, what's that mode? Hut. Hockey Ultimate Team.
Hut? Hut? Yeah.
What a throwback.
Let's see who else we got.
Teemu Hartikainen. He's a familiar name.
Yeah.
Where was he from?
Yeah, he was an Oilers player for a while. He bounced around a little bit, I think. But I think his main claim to fame, Hartikainen, was an Oiler. Marcus Granlund, I believe, is related to Mikael Granlund of the Minnesota Wild. That's all I recognize on the forwards side. Because oh my goodness, oh no, sorry, Pakarinen is also someone who played the NHL. I believe he was also with the Oilers. Correct me if I'm wrong. I believe he was an Oiler. I think that was his main destination. But yeah, like other than that, like just looking at this roster, I don't recognize really anyone. Oh, Mikko Lehtinen is on the Finnish Olympic team. That's good.
Mikko Lehtinen? Oh, you're right. You're right.
Leaf defenseman, Semi Vatanen. Wow, Semi Vatanen is out of the NHL. That's crazy. Semi Vatanen, former Ducks, Devils, Dallas Stars defenseman. I think he was a Devil a while for as well.
Miro Aaltonen is also a famous name.
Miro Aaltonen. Oh yes, another former Leaf. Oh my goodness, that's funny.
Was Aaltonen a former Leaf? I can't remember. I think he's a Duck.
He was.
Oh, okay.
No, he was a. I think Miro. Is it Miro or Miko?
Miro Aaltonen.
Okay.
Maybe getting confused.
I don't see that on here, but it's okay. Maybe I just can't see the whole lot. I don't know. Anyways,
Sammy Vatanen.
So yeah, like, yep.
Holy shit.
I think I mentioned Sammy Vatanen.
Yeah.
Former Leafs trade deadline target for like 8 years in a row.
I know, right?
Yeah. So, yeah.
We can.
So some names there, not a whole lot.
Yeah.
In terms of recognizable names, I'm sure there's a lot of. I'm sure like I don't think we have any Finnish listeners, but I'm sure that a lot of people over in Sweden probably recognize a lot of those. Sorry, it's not Sweden. A lot of our people people in Finland probably know a lot of these players because they probably play in the Finnish Elite League, and I'm assuming it's going to be the same thing with the Swedish players of the Swedish Elite League.
Yep.
But anyways, yeah.
Let's jump.
And speaking of our Sweden. Sorry. And speaking of our team, Sweden, the Swedish Elite League, is that where you're going to go as well?
Yeah, I was.
Okay.
You got Daniel Brodin.
Yeah.
That's one. Pontus Holmberg. It's a familiar name.
Carl Klingberg, brother of John Klingberg.
Lucas Walmart. That's Lander. A prospect.
Wow. There's a whole lot of former Oilers on here. Anton Lander's a former Oiler. Jacob De La Rose, former Canadian. Joakim Nordstrom, former Chicago Blackhawk, Carolina
Mhm.
Hurricane, Boston Bruin. He bounced around, but Lucas Walmark. Wow, that's a big name actually,
Yeah, I
or a
mentioned
relatively
that.
big name.
Did you
Oh,
already
you
mention
okay? Never
Anton
mind.
Lander?
I did mention it, Lander.
Hmm.
Okay,
I don't know
Eric
anyone else.
Gustafson. Oscar Fantenberg was a defenseman. Uh, I think Emil Juice. No, sorry, the Emil Juice. I'm getting players mixed up, not Emil Juice. Um, Christian Folin was, I believe, a Kings defenseman, a Wild defenseman. I think he was a pretty highly touted defenseman coming out of college, if I believe. I could be wrong about that. I'm not 100% sure, but I think Folin was a highly touted NCAA defenseman. Oscar Fantenberg. Yeah, I already mentioned him for his NHL experience. So yeah, it looks like again, I think Max Freeberg was someone who was drafted by the Ducks. I seem to remember, I think he was actually a very highly touted prospect. Um, like I think he was someone who had a lot of skill but couldn't just really put it together. So he's someone I'm actually kind of excited to watch because again, he was someone I took in NHL like 15 all the time because he had like 6 green star potential. But yeah, anyways. um that's really it for Sweden. Magnus Hellberg, I think, is someone who um is someone who's played, but I don't really think there's anything really too exciting there in terms of goaltending.
Yeah, there's just one more men's team I want to highlight before we jump into women's, and that's the Russian team. So they're not
Yeah,
called Russia in the Olympics now; they're called the Russian Olympic Committee (ROC).
isn't it? Isn't it? Okay, okay. I thought it was Olympic athletes of Russia, but never mind. Okay, I guess it's
Yeah,
ROC now.
I
Okay,
think we changed the terminology around a little bit, something like that.
probably. Yeah, sorry. Go ahead.
Also, some familiar names. You got Nikita Gusev, the Leafs legend.
Really?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
You
Oh, did
got
Grigor? Oh,
and
sorry.
you
Go ahead.
got
Go
you
ahead.
got a
Sorry.
player who
Go.
just recently played for the Leafs, like just a month ago or 2 months ago, Kirill Semyonov.
Oh, that's funny. Yeah.
You got
Wow. There's a
this is
lot of good players on this list.
there is one player I'm confused about. His
Yes.
on the list it's spelled Artyom, but is Artem Anisimov still a player in the league?
I don't think so. I think he was bought up by Ottawa. And then he didn't play again, or by Chicago. I can't remember what the.
Okay, because there's a player
No,
who's
sorry. He was in Ottawa. But yes, go ahead.
there is a player who's going to play on the ROC, and his name is Artyom Anisimov. I wonder if
I
this
think
is
it's just the
the same.
spelling. It's the same player. So
Okay,
like again, so if you look on the Sportsnet website, I'm not sure if that's where you're looking at it. I'm looking at the Sportsnet website. It actually has the English, like the one that we see in North America, Artem Anisimov.
okay,
Um, but like again, I think you'll see this once the Olympics actually start. The last names that appear on the back of their jerseys are going to be a little bit different from what we see in English, and that's just strictly, I think it's just strictly a translation thing.
true.
But holy cow. Okay. Um, I think okay, anyways, we'll get to this in a minute because this is like my first time seeing this roster. Holy
It's pretty good, dude.
moly. Yeah. Yeah, like okay, so Mikhail Grigorenko was a very highly touted prospect in the QMJHL.
Yep.
He was someone who I really liked watching. Like he was someone who like when he was with the Sabres, I was really excited for. It didn't pan out, but that's okay. Artem Anisimov's obviously a good player, man, or he was a good player in the NHL. Nikita Gusev was someone you mentioned. Kirill Semyonov, Vadim Shipachev is another really big name. I believe he was a really highly
Yep.
anticipated prospect. I can't remember where he was with. It might have been, was it Washington?
I'll search it up. You keep
Um,
going.
Golden Knights. That's what it was. He didn't.
Okay, you're right. Yeah.
He didn't work out with Vegas. I remember that. Okay, so Shipachev is no longer in the NHL. So, but he's still very good. Oh my goodness. Um, Sergey Telegan, I think, is someone who's a pretty big name. I can't remember exactly remember where I've heard his name, but I think he's pretty good. Nikita
Nesterov.
Nesterov.
Yeah.
Yeah, man. In terms of goalies, I think that's probably their biggest red flag or area of concern, which is understandable because I think that's a lot of teams' biggest concern going into this tournament. But yeah, wow, this Russian team looks scary. Oh my god.
Hmm.
Okay, interesting. Okay.
There obviously there are other teams in the tournament. You've also got Germany, you got Switzerland, you got the Czech Republic. I think you got Denmark as well. Yeah. But
Mhm.
honestly, a bunch of those names I don't recognize myself. Unless you do, we can. But like on the Swiss team,
Um,
I only recognize Dennis Malgin, another Leafs
yeah,
legend.
so I'll yeah, so like I'm just gonna quickly so the Swiss team is actually one I'm actually very excited to watch.
Okay.
I'm a big fan of Swiss hockey. Again, I know you said you only don't recognize Dennis Malgin. I recognize a bit more than that. Simon Moser used to play for the Predators. Fabrice Herzog was a former
Yeah.
NHL player or a former prospect, I believe. I can't remember exactly where he played, but it's kind of not, it doesn't really matter. He played in the NHL, so that's pretty solid.
Oh shit.
Uh, Sven Andrighetto was a former Montreal Canadian slash Colorado Avalanche. He was pretty
Yannick
good. Not,
Yannick Weber, Rito Berra.
yep,
What a
Yannick Weber.
throwback.
Yep, Yannick Weber, Rafael Diaz, also a defenseman. Yeah, Rafael Diaz bounced around a little bit. Mirko Mueller was someone who was drafted in the first round and was considered a very highly touted prospect from the San Jose Sharks at the time. Gaetan Haas was a former Edmonton Oiler. Yeah, like you mentioned, Reto Bear. I imagine he's going to be the starting goaltender, 6'5", 220. I would have a hard time believing it's going to be anyone else, but
Mhm.
yeah, the Swiss team, I think, is one that people are going to be sleeping on, but I do think they have potential to be very good. The only thing that's hurting them, I think, is the fact they're in a group with Russia, but we're going to get to that in a second in terms of our very quick predictions. But yeah, there's a lot of teams I'm excited to see. China's in this year. Oh my goodness.
You're right.
Sorry. Yeah. I might have to get a team China jersey. I'm
Do
not
it.
even joking. I might have to get one depending if they actually if they're gonna get destroyed by the US and Canada though. Anyways, yeah, in terms of players that I think are kind of very exciting on the big teams, I think we've kind of hit them all.
Yeah, okay. Before we jump into our final predictions, I just want to quickly go over the women's team as well. Legendary
Also, one thing,
Canadian.
one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, one thing, one
Sorry.
thing, one thing, one thing, one thing. So one thing to that I think we should note is that Claude Julien was supposed to coach the men's Olympic team. He got injured in training camp and will no longer be coaching. So it is now going to be handed over to Jeremy Colleton, former Chicago Blackhawks head coach before he was fired. Um, which is like I think it was like right after the Kyle Beach thing, which is kind of ironic, but that's okay.
But it was unrelated to the Kyle
Yeah,
Beach thing, right?
it was unrelated, but it was
Okay.
around the same time, I think. Yeah. Oh, also, sorry, just one thing. David Krejci's playing for a team Czech Republic.
Oh, no
Um,
way. That's
yes,
cool.
that's gonna. Yeah, yeah.
Why?
The Czech
Okay.
team is actually kind of interesting. But go ahead.
Is
Yeah,
it just me, or are the teams more interesting this year than they were 4 years ago? And 4 years ago, the
I
NHL still was
think.
not involved.
Yeah. Honestly, I think they're probably it's about the same. I just think nowadays, like we're another 4 years removed from that period, and I think a lot of the players that me and you are familiar with have either retired or have
Hmm.
moved on to Europe. So like players like David Krejci, like Michael Frolik, like a lot of these players, it's like, oh, I recognize him. I think it's just again, because I do remember there were some back in Pyeongchang, which were kind of like, oh, I know him, but you're right. Definitely recognize more now than I did then. So,
Same.
anyways, I don't know why that is.
Okay, really quickly going over the Canadian women's team. I don't have the rest of the women's rosters in front of me. Do you want to go over those, or you just want to stick to Canadian women's?
Just yeah, no, we can go with the women's. Give me a second. I'll pull them up. Hold on.
Okay, I'll start listing the amazing Canadian women's names first. You got Emily Clark, Sarah Nurse, Melody Doust. These are all familiar names to me.
Yeah,
I've seen them before.
Dow. I think it's Dow's, but yeah, go. Yeah.
You got legend Marie-Philippe Poulin, Sarah Fillier,
Mhm.
Jamie Lee Rattray, Brian Jenner, Jill Saulnier, Rebecca Johnston, Natalie
Mhm.
Spooner, Emma Malte, I think, Laura Stacy,
Yeah.
Blair Turnbull. Defense, you got Aaron Ambrose, Jocelyn Larocque, Ashton Bell, Ella Shelton, Renata Fast, and Claire Thompson. And goalies, you got Kristen Campbell and Renee Desbiens. Sorry if I butchered any of those names. I
Debian. I
apologize.
think it's Debian. Yeah.
Davian.
Yeah. Debian. Yeah.
Thank
Desby.
God.
Oh my goodness. Yeah. Um. Yeah, so like I
Desbiens.
don't really have many thoughts on that just because it's basically the same roster as Pyeongchang, or it feels like it at least.
Yeah.
Um, so
Great.
I don't get me wrong, yeah, exactly, the great team. Very excited for that roster. Um, and yeah, like it's something that I think a lot of people are excited about, rightfully so. Um, because to be honest, I actually might be looking more forward to the women's hockey than the men's hockey this year. If I'm being completely
Same.
honest with you. I don't know. Sorry, I'm not saying it like it's. I guess I'm kind of surprised, but like more so just because like I don't know. I just never had really that much interest in women's hockey until recently. So, um,
And we
yeah.
should all be
Anyways,
interested, right? Like these
like
women
hundred
have,
percent, 100%.
yeah,
Like, and again, it's yeah. Sorry, go ahead. I didn't mean to cut you off.
like just from the perspective of this women's team, they've won gold so many times over the last 6 iterations of the women's tournament in the Olympics. So that's one thing to be proud of. But another thing is like there's a lot of discussion about the women's National Hockey League. It's not That's not what it's called. I think it's called the PHF now.
Yeah, I think
Um,
so. Yep.
and we haven't talked about it in this podcast, but one day
On the
we
pod,
will.
yeah.
One day we will.
Hmm.
That's a big thing as well. Women's hockey entering the foray of hockey in the world now, which is great.
Hmm. Yep.
And then there will
Yep.
all be in front of you for your viewing pleasure, for your hockey viewing pleasure in just a week or so. So this is where you can see all the best
Yeah.
of the best finally,
Mhm.
I guess, after 4 years facing each other once again. So
Yeah.
definitely watch the women's tournament.
It's gonna be really good. Because again, like it is like, and again, this is something for a bit of another day. Because like you said, this is like the whole issue with the. I don't say issue with women's hockey, because women's hockey itself isn't the issue. It's more so like
Women's
I think the
sports
way
in
that people
general.
look at women's hockey or women's sports in general. But like, and this is part of the problem. It feels like this is like really the only time that we actually get to watch like
Yeah.
entertaining women, sorry, not entertaining, but like we actually get to watch like women's hockey on a big stage.
Yeah.
um Now obviously they have like tournaments throughout the year, which I actually have watched more and more over the years, because again, like once I like if you watch any of the last couple like women's hockey events like at the Olympics, these like the Americans versus the the Americans versus the Canadian teams are always such entertaining games. Like anyway, so you mentioned
Yeah.
the American, so the Canadian roster, like I'll just read a couple names off the American roster, like uh uh Amanda Kessel, Phil Kessel's sister will be again this year.
Oh wow.
um Hillary Knight, I think
Mm-hmm.
highly considered one of the best female hockey players in the world, will be there.
She a
Brianna
goalie?
Decker, who? Hillary Knight? No.
Oh, okay, I'm
I think
wrong.
she's a forward.
Never mind then.
Um, Brianna Decker, Kendall Coyne. Uh, there's a lot of good players there. Again, repeat from previous tournaments. And again, I
Yep.
think, not to be rude or anything, but again, I think this is a tournament where a lot of people are going to be looking at America versus Canada for the gold medal. And that's nothing against
Mm-hmm.
the other countries. I just think, just given like the amount of skill and the amount of players that these teams have, that Canada and the Americans are kind of very like they're the favorites. But now that being said, everyone loves an underdog. So, anyways, I'm looking forward to the women's tournament almost just as much as the men's
Yeah.
tournament this year.
Okay, let's make our predictions now. So I'm going to list Group A of the men's tournament, and I'm going to ask for your predictions for who's going to make the quarterfinals. Or actually, you know what?
Yeah.
We'll go top two in each division, and then I'll ask you for your top three overall. So
Yeah.
Group A, you've got Canada and the US and Germany
Mm-hmm.
and then China.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go out on a limb and say top two are Canada and the US. I don't think
Yeah.
that's too
Yeah.
bold.
I don't think that's a debate. Yeah.
Group B, you got the Russian Olympic Committee, you got Czech Republic, Swiss, and Denmark.
Mm-hmm.
Man, after seeing the Russian team, how could you not say them number one? So
Mm-hmm.
I'm gonna go ROC one and Swiss number two, actually.
Yeah, yep, no debates here. I am really high on the Swiss team this year.
Group C, you got Finland, Sweden, Slovakia, and Latvia.
Yeah,
um,
I think we both have the same
yeah,
It's going to be Finland and Sweden, in my opinion, 1 and 2.
yep.
Um, yeah.
How about overall tournament? Who you got?
This is going to be interesting. I think there's going to be a couple really big upsets, in my opinion. Like, to be honest, I know we have Canada and the US in both of our group favorites for Group A. I don't think either of them is going to be like. I really think some of the European teams are gonna really like wipe the floor with some of the other teams. So and I know a lot of the teams are European, so that's kind of broad, but like in terms of the main three, like I think the big powerhouses are Group A, B, and C. Um, just looking at it, like I think Switzerland has real potential to come up big here. Same with the Czech Republic. But in terms of like who I think the actual favorite of the tournament is, I'm going with Russia.
Same.
Um,
Same.
because man, like even if they do have goaltending problems, it looks like they have enough firepower to just outscore their problems. And I don't think that's something that a lot of the players on in this tournament can really say. Um, and one thing I think that the one thing that we should talk about is that unlike a lot of some of the players in the tournament, I think a lot of the Russian players actually have a lot of familiarity playing with each other in the KHL. Now I'm sure there's some similarity in the tournament, but like in terms of just the overall uh, Russian Olympic roster, I can see them being a real problem. I think they won it 2 years ago, or sorry, not like 4 years ago in Pyeongchang. I could be wrong with that. I believe they won. I think they could be going for the repeat. Oh, they will be going for the repeat.
So who you got in your top three is the main question.
Top. Sorry, I didn't hear that. I sorry. My top three. I'm gonna go ROC as one. I'm going to go. So I'm just going off the top of my head after the players that we mentioned. I'll go Sweden two, and this is probably going to be my biggest surprise. I'm going to go Switzerland three.
Oh wow. So Canada
Yeah,
and the
I'm
US are
really high on
completely
those
left
Swiss
off.
boys. Yeah, in my opinion, yeah. I think Switzerland's going to be right there with teams like Finland, Canada, and USA. Um, but yeah, that might be a bit of a hot take and probably won't age well, but that's okay. I'm gonna go Switzerland. I'm gonna stick by my one of my favorite countries and go with Switzerland.
Okay, I'm gonna go. I kind of want to just say this to be different from you, but I genuinely believe the Russian
Mm-hmm.
team is amazing. Don't get me wrong.
Yeah.
Like they on paper, they look like the best team by far.
Mm-hmm.
Like they have the
Mm-hmm.
most. They don't have as many prospects as some of the other teams do, but they have like ready veterans who are just ready to just grind you and
I might be
destroy you on
better
the
in
ice.
this tournament.
Yep.
I might better in this tournament. You want the it's a bit yeah. Go ahead.
They have players who have played recently in Russian leagues against adults,
Yeah.
right? The Canadian and the American teams, they're made up predominantly of prospects. I think it's safe to say
Young,
that.
young, very young. Yep.
Very young teams.
Mm-hmm.
Ooh, but man, young teams can surprise sometimes.
That's right. That's true. That is very true. And I think my main concern with the Canadian American teams is not necessarily the youth, but it's the youth in the net. Because goaltending is a very sensitive position. Oh, sorry, not sensitive, but like it's a very mental position. It's a very confidence thing. It's a very headspace thing. And I think when you're young, it's very easy to let bad games get into your head. And if you're playing a team like Russia, where they have that much firepower, they have the potential to just send you into another dimension. Like
Mm.
anyways.
Oh, I'm having a tough time here. Okay, I'm gonna go Russia number two. I think the final is going to be Russia and another team, and I think Russia does not pull it off.
Okay.
I have a feeling. Don't ask me why.
Okay.
I could be
Yeah,
very wrong.
that's fine. We all have those. Yep.
But I think Russia takes the silver medal. I'm gonna
Mm-hmm.
say, I'm gonna say, hold on.
No.
I'm trying to pull up the American goalies. Where are they? Where'd you go? Where'd you go?
Those were the ones where like we have no idea who these people are.
Yeah, never mind.
I think a lot of AHL goalies.
Man, I don't know. Uh, okay, I'm just gonna go Russia two. I'm gonna go United States number one.
Interesting. Okay.
I just think the U.S. prospects they just jump out of the page for me, and not only
Mm-hmm.
because more of them are least prospects than other rosters on the Olympics right now, but also
Yeah.
because like
Yeah.
they're more NHL ready to me than a roster like Canada's. Like Canada's okay,
Yeah.
yeah, you got Eric Stahl, but like man, what is he really gonna do? Josh Hostang, I love, but like,
Yeah.
is he really gonna make a
Well,
big
this would be an
difference?
interesting tournament because like someone like Eric Stahl, for example, like it's going to be interesting because like you have
Hmm.
you're right. Like, what's he gonna do? But we also saw him kind of decline in the NHL, where I think a lot of people consider that the skill level significantly higher. But if you play like Eric Stahl with someone like Josh Hosang and like Mason McTavish,
Hmm.
dude, like you have the potential to turn back the clock there. But
That's
again, my
true.
thing with Canada is more so the goaltending. I think Devin Levi is going to be great. But because he's so young, I worry about just headspace and not headspace, but like it's because again, like people talk about how goaltenders are so weird and so superstitious and everything, but like they can Devin Levi like I think Devin Levi is going to be fine. I worry about the overall uh just the what's the word I'm looking for? The nature of their position concerns me with someone who's that young because I think all three goalies on the Canadian team are all actually pretty young.
That's true. So with that, I'm just gonna go America 1, Russia 2, Canada 3.
That's fair. Yeah. The Americans are going to be real interesting because, like you said, they are very young. But again, like I said, in this tournament, I think having youth is really good.
Yep.
However, if you're gonna pick a young roster, they sure as hell better be the best roster as well, because you know a lot of the other teams like Russia are gonna go skill and old over young and with potential.
I'm really interested to know how Jake Sanderson performs. He is a fantastic prospect for the Sens. So
Yeah,
that's another reason why
I
I'm
am
choosing
like,
America.
yeah, I hope he does poorly as a Leafs fan.
Yeah, me too. But
But
like,
not to be a horrible person, because that's kind of what it looks like. But like, there's so many prospects in this tournament. Like, I am genuinely like so excited to see Owen Power. Like Pete, like this guy, like I didn't really know much about Owen Power because I don't really follow the draft on prospects as much anymore. I think it's more so because the Leafs aren't drafting super high anymore. But like Owen Power is a first overall defenseman who is 6'5".
yep,
People are comparing him to like Victor Hedman.
that's true.
And if the Sabres are able to get a Victor Head, sorry, I know he's a prospect, and prospects don't only pull out, don't always pan out. I know like when you compare someone to a player, like you're not getting an exact player, like it's just their style. But dude, like even in the World Juniors, Owen Power looked unbelievable.
Hmm.
So, anyways, that's who I'm more excited. I like him and the
You're
Leafs
right.
prospects on the States are all are my top prospects to watch.
Matthew
So.
Nyes apparently is really, really good.
If you've watched any of his any of his Gopher highlights, there or something. I think he plays for the Gophers, University of Minnesota.
You're right. Okay, women's team. We didn't look at any of the rosters, but I'm just gonna go Canada 1 and America 2. I don't care about the rest.
Yeah, yeah.
But
That
also,
sounded
like,
really bad. We do
uh,
we do care about the rest, but like
yes.
in terms of an overall discussion, in terms of who's going to win the tournament, I think again, just like I said before, nothing against the other teams in the tournament of any other women's teams in the tournament, but Canada and USA are really the main.
Yeah.
I think, and again, I hope I'm wrong because again, I'm a student of the game. I love to learn about other players and other nations. So if there's other women's teams that are in the finals, great, or in the gold medal game, great. But yeah, I'm gonna go USA 1, Canada 2. Um,
Ooh, interesting.
I I love my country. I will always love my country. I serve my country, but um, I think you gotta take the champ. And like in this particular situation, you stick with the reigning champ until they prove you otherwise. The American women's team is very good. They've come close on many different occasions, and I think this year is going to be exact same
So
situation.
you're sticking with the reigning champ for both the men's and the women's tourneys. Which one are you
Yes,
less confident in?
Russia,
Russia? Okay, so
Russia.
the men's.
Yeah. So like it's tough because the reason I say Russia is because I'm more concerned about Russia just getting to the final or getting to I keep calling it the final to getting
Mm,
to the gold medal game. And that's strictly just basically stems from their poor or their shoddy defense and goaltending potentially. Whereas the United States, I know what I'm getting. They're going to be very, very good. They're probably going to get to the gold medal game. They're probably going to face Canada, and it's going to be a coin flip between Canada and the U.S. But yeah,
yeah. Well, tell you what, I have not watched the Olympics last time. I watched them 8
You didn't
years
watch the
ago.
Olympics last time?
I did not watch the
Oh
Olympics at all
my
last time.
goodness. Yeah. Oh my
This
goodness.
time I
You
will though.
disgrace.
This time I am.
Yeah, you better. Oh my goodness.
So I'll be cheering on the Canadian team. It's gonna be a little difficult because the games are halfway across the world, but that's okay. I'll figure it out somehow. Maybe I'll watch them
Yeah.
on recording or whatever. So don't spoily.
Yeah. Probably. Yeah. No spoilers. Yeah.
And then the one last thing I was gonna say before we close off is Steven Stamkos has never played an Olympic game, and he probably never will.
Oh, is that a thing? No, stop it. Also, one thing. Okay,
That's real.
sorry. Hold on. One thing before we go. I have something I want. Okay, so there's two players I want to shout out real quick. Mitch Marner has been on an absolute heater. I've
True.
given him a lot of shit over the podcast. I am here to give him his cookies. Mitch, good job. Like, good job. You're playing very well.
Yep.
Hold on. Sorry, just give me one. I'm pulling up something.
He's got 12
Um,
points in his last 6 games. He's at 2 points per game over the last 6 games.
I would like to point out a defenseman for a team who I like. It's not my favorite team because we all know who that is, but no.
Boston.
This defenseman, he's a defenseman, makes $8 million per year. He was recently traded, I think it was 2 years ago.
Huh?
He plays for a team in the Metropolitan Division.
$8 million.
He is someone. Yes, he is someone who used to play for a Canadian team. He was drafted eighth overall, I believe. Hold on. And he is having an absolute. He's having a great year. Chris
Letang?
No. Chris Letang never played for a Canadian team.
You're right.
He was never traded.
But he's having a great season too, by the way. Chris Letang.
He is having a great season. I believe the player I'm thinking of is top 10 in goals by a defenseman. He is top 20 in even strength points.
Oh my God. You're testing me,
he
right?
Is leading. Yes.
Oh.
Hold on.
Man, I can do this.
Yeah.
Vancouver, no, they didn't trade an $8 million defenseman. Winnipeg.
Sorry, hold on. He's top 5 in. Sorry. I'll read you I just got the tweet, so I'll quickly read it for you. I'm not gonna say the name. Among all NHL defensemen this year, this defenseman is top 5 in goals, top 5 in shots, top 5 in hits, top 5 in blocks.
My God.
And top 20 and even strength points, and he makes $8 million.
Man, I feel like this is such an obvious name. How am I not getting this right now? He used to play on a Canadian team.
Canadian team.
When was he traded?
A super obvious name. Give me 1 second. He's traded a couple years ago.
And how old is he?
Hold on. He is 27.
Okay.
He plays in the Metropolitan Division. The trade occurred in 2019.
Calvin DeHaan?
No.
Okay, he never played.
It's a bigger name than that. He played for a Canadian team, traded in 2019. Trying to think what other clues can I give you?
Metro Division.
He's a very hard hitting defenseman.
Metro Division. Wait. No way. No.
What?
It's not who I think it is. Wait, really?
Say it.
He's that good right now?
Say it. Who is it?
It's our boy. It's our boy.
Who?
No, is it? I don't know.
Who?
Ooh, now I don't know.
Just say it.
Is it PK Subban?
No. Plays a no. This does not play similar. So I'll give you one more guess. Take one more guess.
Metro Division.
You're gonna hit yourself because I think as soon as you say you're gonna be like, damn it, I knew that.
Okay, wait. Is it New York?
It's one of the New York teams, yes.
Oh wow. Is it the Rangers?
It is the Rangers.
Is it Adam Fox? No,
No.
he never played for American.
Yes.
Wait, it's one of them. It's one of them. You know what? Screw
Okay,
you.
yeah, one more.
No.
No, don't look it up. Do not look up the Rangers defense core. No,
Fine.
absolutely not.
Okay. Oh my God. Who do you got? You got Adam Fox and no, I don't know, man. I don't know. I'm blanking out right now.
Okay, well, time's up. It was Jacob Trouba.
Oh no! I'm
Jacob
so mad at
Trouba
myself.
Jacob Trouba has been on an absolute heater.
Really?
He's top 5 in goals. He's top 5 in shots, top 5 in hits, top 5 in blocks, and top 20 amongst defensemen and even strength points. Jacob Trouba has been unbelievable for the Rangers this year. And he hits hard, man. He is probably one of the closest things. Again, this might be a bit of a hot take, but he's one of the closest things this league currently has to someone like a Scott Stevens, where he does not care who you are. He will just absolutely flatten you.
Wow.
He did almost kill Jujhar Khaira. Hope Khaira's okay. But Jacob Trouba's a good man, and he's easily outperforming his $8 million contract. And he is like among with Adam Fox. Again, his defensive numbers are kind of shoddy. Like he's like his goals against per 60 and Corsi against per 60 are pretty bad. But in terms of like just this straight like offensive statistics, block shots, and everything, he's been quite good.
Wow.
Yes.
I'm shocked. Good job, Mr. Jacob Trouba. Good for you.
Yeah, I saw it on a TikTok. I was like, I have to shout this out because this is unreal. Yeah.
Okay. With that, let's wrap up there. Thanks for listening. You want to do the outro?
No, I'm just kidding. Yeah, we'll be back on Thursday. More content for you. Probably do some more, touch on some more Olympic stuff. Maybe we'll see. But again, subscribe to our to whatever podcast listening platform you're currently listening to us on. Subscribe to our YouTube channel, our Instagram page, or follow our Instagram page and our TikTok, everything to stay up to date with the show. Again, hopefully this is the last time we have a very dry and cold outro. But yes, we will see you on Thursday.